You are welcome to the LifeBits YouTube channel. Kindly subscribe to this channel and like the video. Don't forget to share as well. Thanks.
Uber, Metaverse, Crypto. You might have already heard about all this technology. In the past decade, all sorts of innovative inventions have popped up. These things have been consistently making our lives easier and more convenient. You might be familiar with current technology, but it's ever-changing. Several years from now, new technology will emerge and continue to surpass its predecessors. Let's take a look at some of the most genius and exciting tech that might come out in the future. From instant water to miraculous nano medicine, here are 15 future technology that will change the world. Number 15. Instant water. Most of the world would enjoy anything at the press of a single button. Want coffee? Just order on your phone. Want ice cubes? We have a high-tech fridge for that. You can even choose the shape and size. Water? Just press the button, turn the tap, and you have hot or cold water at the ready. But despite the convenience and luxury that many of us experience, several parts of the world still haven't had the privilege of having any of the tech that we enjoy. In fact, some of them don't even have their basic necessities fulfilled. Water is one of the most essential things a man should have. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC, 2 billion people don't have access to safely managed drinking water at home. Out of those people, about 820,000 die annually of diseases from unsafe drinking water, lack of sanitation, and hygiene. One of the solutions to the lack of safe water are filters. There are many on the market, but most of them take hours to make water safe for consumption. Recently, however, researchers found a way to use nanotubes and silver nanowires to make the process of filtering water up to 80,000 times faster than existing ones. This filter makes use of electricity, which helps to kill bacteria in the water, ensuring that it's safe for consumption. But how would people in poorer and less developed areas have enough electricity for a powerful water filter? Well, you see, researchers focused on making an effective but still accessible filter with the isolated villages on Earth in mind. The electricity that this filter needs is only a few milliamperes strong, a small amount that can be supplied by a small solar panel. This research is still in the works, but hopefully there will come a time when water is accessible for everyone. Number 14. Femto Second Projection 2 Photon Lithography. Remember when 3D printers became a thing and many people were amazed by them? 3D printers are quite useful. There are a lot of resources on the internet for anything you want to create, and there are templates that you can easily customize. However, a 3D printer is too pricey for an ordinary person to buy, but at the same time it's too inefficient to be used by billion-dollar companies. At the nanoscale, a 3D printer is incredible. It can produce intricate features smaller than the width of a human hair, but the downside is that it's incredibly slow. 3D printing can be used by smaller businesses, but million-dollar companies with a fast-paced environment don't see it as practical technology. That's where this new tech comes in. Femto Second Projection 2 Photon Lithography is essentially 3D printing, but up to 1,000 times faster. This tech uses lasers, or about 1 million heated needles, to simultaneously work on a 3D print. This tech can create 3D printed products faster without sacrificing its quality. What's more, it has the potential to become cheaper than the 3D printers we're using today. But what does this mean for the rest of the world? Well, aside from inventors and creative people who begin their craft at home, the existence of 2-photon lithography can help create nanobots which can be used for all sorts of things like medicine and security. Number 13. Smart glasses. Smartphone, smartwatch, smart TV, smart refrigerator. It's like every piece of furniture today is incorporated with technology. However, the latest breakthrough is smart glasses. They not only give you good vision, but also assist in all sorts of things. Today, we have several pairs of smart glasses on the market. There was Google Glass, but later on was repurposed after it received heat from the public due to privacy concerns. Meanwhile, Amazon has Echo frames, which lets you talk to Alexa while wearing them. It seems pretty useless if you ask me, but I can see its appeal to other people. You also have Facebook's Ray-Ban Stories glasses, which, as its name suggests, lets you take photos and videos to upload to your Insta or Facebook stories. Of course, one of the most popular brands, Apple, is also working on their own pair of smart glasses, but it's yet to be unveiled. There are also smart glasses on the market today that allows hands-free access to the internet by allowing its users to navigate the device using voice control. There are also a few that let its users talk to someone without their phone, but the problem is that they're incredibly expensive and they're incredibly clunky to wear. Functionality isn't enough sometimes, especially if you're making something that's meant to be worn by people. Aside from its functions and features, another important thing that users want in smart glasses is for it to be fashionable and wearable. It might be nice to flex smart glasses, but you don't want to wear something that looks like ugly goggles. Several researchers are now trying to create smart eyeglasses that are both fashionable and functional. In the future, there might be stylish eyeglasses that can be used hands-free. These glasses would be able to play videos, music, and provide information from the internet. Pretty much do everything that a phone can. Number 12. LiFi. You know about Wi-Fi, and you might even be using it to watch this video. But have you heard about LiFi? LiFi is a wireless communication technology that uses light to transmit data across devices. With LiFi, your connection will be up to 1,000 times faster than Wi-Fi. Just imagine, what if you can connect to the internet just by turning on your lights? After all, LiFi technology uses LEDs for data transmission, instead of radio waves that are currently being used by most devices on the market. LiFi technology would take advantage of the speed of light to transmit information faster. But aside from its speed, it's also advantageous because it allows people to transmit data even with electromagnetic interference. Using LiFi, you can have a wireless connection in hospitals, aircraft cabins, and other places. If you're someone who prefers working or studying in a dim environment, using LiFi doesn't necessarily mean that your lights should be in full brightness. In fact, you can still use it even when the LED lights are dim below human visibility. The only disadvantage is that this connection can't pass through walls, and you'd need a transmitter in every room of your house or the entire building to use it. But I guess that's a small sacrifice for a faster and greater wireless connection. Who knows? LiFi-enabled LED lights might come to the market soon. Just imagine how much this tech will change the future. Number 11. 8K virtual reality headsets. There's a huge chance that you've already used a virtual reality headset or VR headset before. This tech became extremely popular in the entertainment industry for its capability to enhance media and games. VR headsets are widely used today in video games, but they're also incredibly helpful for training professionals. With this head-mounted device, a person can enter a simulation and train in a safe and controlled environment. These headsets provide each eye with images and videos, literally transforming the surroundings of the user to whatever they desire. It also has accelerometers and utilizes gyroscopes to track the movement of the user's head and eyes. Together with gaming controls, VR headsets provide a realistic gaming or training environment. VR headsets in the market today aren't perfect, and companies know that. That's why people are now working on newer, better, and more innovative VR headsets, like for instance 8K VR headsets. In fact, there's already an 8K VR headset out on the market. But how is this device different from ordinary ones? These head-worn gaming gear not only have a higher refresh rate and high dynamic range technology, but it also provides 200-degree vision. What's more, it's also more ideal for people who suffer from motion sickness. So if you're into gaming, you might want to watch out for these cool headsets. Number 10. Brain interface devices. There are a lot of hands-free devices that are available today. Several smart devices incorporate voice control to let you use your device without having the need to stand up and reach for it. However, there's still limits to this function, and it's not accessible to everyone. But what if you can control a device using your mind? I know it sounds impossible, but it may be our future. Brain-computer interface devices are coming. Engineers and investors are trying to push the limits of technology. But are we ready for it? Over the past few years, several people have been successful using brain interface tech. A person can sit down while wearing this strange headwear and control drones without using any remotes. All a person needs is the brain interface they're wearing and their mind. All they need to do is to supply commands to the hundreds of sensors on their headwear to fly the drone with ease. This is just one of the many applications of brain-computer interface tech, also known as BCI. It's only in the beginning stages today, but it will surely pave the way for hands-free tech in the future. The only fear people have is that it might be too much for us to handle. For a BCI device to work, headgear that's similar to a head cap needs to be worn by the user. It's full of sensors that can track and record brain activity, effectively sending data and commands to whatever device in real time. However, there might be instances where invasive BCI is required, which means a sensor needs to be implanted beneath our skull for the device to function better. These implanted devices are incredibly tiny, almost the same size as a grain of sand. It will send signals faster and more accurately. But I don't think everyone is comfortable with the idea of implanting an electronic device in their brain just yet. Number 9. Quantum computers. Computers or laptops that are being used by most people today already have a lot of built-in features. But no matter how powerful your computer is, it will surely pale in comparison to a supercomputer. Supercomputers perform better than conventional ones, and they provide the highest operational rate for any computer. For years, big companies like IBM, Google, Intel, and Microsoft have been trying to outplay each other when building the biggest and most powerful quantum computer. These computers are so powerful that they can perform a calculation in 3 minutes, when the same process would take about 10,000 years for conventional computers to finish. Conventional computers use bits, which is essentially a unit of information that either has a value of 0 or 1. To achieve greater speed, quantum computers use qubits. Through it, a computer can perform seemingly impossible calculations at record speeds. Although Google recently achieved what was once thought impossible with their 53-qubit machine, quantum computers that we have today are still unstable and too pricey to be used on a greater scale. In the future, quantum computers might be the norm. Number 8. Artificial brain implants that can restore memories. According to the CDC, as many as 5.8 million Americans were living with Alzheimer's disease in 2020. Worldwide, there are not less than 50 million people with this disease, and many of them are elderly. People who suffer from this disease usually experience an immense and disruptive decline in their memory. It begins with memory loss, poor judgment, mood and personality changes, until it progresses to more serious symptoms. There are times when old people forget their loved ones, only remembering them occasionally. After a split second, they might fail to recognize their family once again. But what if there's a device that can help people with Alzheimer's, amnesia, and other conditions that affect human memory? This is the dream of many inventors and neuroscientists, and it might become a reality in the future. Several memory-restoring devices have been in the works since the early 2000s, but given how complicated it is to work with the human brain, there's been little progress over the past decade. Even so, we're certainly on the right path. A part of our brain known as the hippocampus is one of the most studied parts, purely due to its function. This brain structure plays a major role in both learning and memory. Essentially, this part of our brain processes experiences and stores them as memories. A damaged hippocampus can greatly affect a person and could lead to a variety of neurological and psychiatric disorders. This is the part of the brain that researchers are particularly focused on. There are several studies involving the hippocampus, and all of them are incredibly interesting. For instance, there's a study where a US researcher claimed that they knew what a rat was dreaming of by observing the nerve cell firings in its hippocampus. I know that it sounds silly, but tapping into a person's hippocampus may lead to a moral debate and experimentation. As a substitute, rats are, well, the generally more accepted options. Years ago, a study also concluded that London taxi drivers who know the British capital like the back of their hands had larger hippocampuses compared to average motorists. There's no debate that the hippocampus really plays a large role in a person's memory. So doesn't it make sense to have a backup of it? Such was the idea of a team of researchers at the University of Southern California in Los Angeles. The researchers thought that they could use artificial hippocampuses to restore memory. There are also other experiments where chips are implanted in a live animal's brain to check its effectiveness in restoring the ability of a damaged hippocampus to store new memory. But of course, all these still sound like seemingly impossible feats. Again, experimenting on people is still taboo, especially if it involves the human brain. But there's a huge possibility that this will be our future. Number 7. Seawater fuel. Fuel has been a huge concern, not only for capitalists and big companies, but also for environmentalists. After all, most of the fuel that we use like oil, coal, and gas will not last forever. They're considered non-renewable materials, and there will come a time when the supply is scarce. For this reason, many of us have made it a mission to search for safer, cleaner, and more sustainable alternatives. That's why many people were impressed when scientists in the U.S. Naval Research Laboratory flew a model plane using seawater. Researchers wanted to find a way to fuel fighter jets with something that's readily available in the open sea. What's more abundant out in the ocean than seawater, right? The process they did is quite simple. They used an electrochemical device to pull carbon dioxide from the water and get hydrogen. Through this, they were able to manufacture liquid fuel. What's more, the cost per gallon also doesn't cost an arm and a leg, coming up between $3 to $6. This may sound like a dream, but as I've said earlier, even the greatest things in life have their own downside. For one, about 9 million cubic meters of water is needed to produce 100,000 gallons of fuel. Considering errors and efficiency, the actual output might be much less. Getting this much water from the ocean would greatly affect marine life, and in turn destroy our environment further. However, this definitely has the potential to be an alternative source of fuel, but it needs to be used sparingly. Researchers estimate that if studies continue and they encounter no legal problems, seawater fuel may become available a decade from now. Number 6. Terabyte internet speed. In 2021, researchers in Japan's National Institute of Information and Communication Technology set a new world record for having the world's fastest internet speed. They achieved an astounding speed of 319 terabytes per second. It was twice as fast as the previous record accomplished by researchers from the University College of London. Our internet speed is usually measured with the unit megabits per second, or Mbps. 1,000 megabits per second is equivalent to 1 gigabytes per second, and 1,000 gigabytes per second is equivalent to 1 terabyte per second. It's hard to imagine just how quick 300 terabytes per second of internet is. For comparison, if you have 300 terabytes per second internet at home, you can easily download every show available on Netflix with a press of a button. You might not even have to blink and it'll all be downloaded on your device. You want to have a movie marathon? That's easy. With 300 terabytes per second, you can download 57,000 full-length films in less than a second. Today, only research facilities like NASA get the privilege of having insane internet speeds. The average speed in the United States is around 160 megabits per second. And a little fun fact. Did you know that Iceland has one of the fastest and most reliable internet in the entire world, with an average speed of 216 megabits per second? Given how isolated Iceland is from other countries, I bet that many didn't expect this. There might come a time when you can download a full-length movie faster than you can say the word YouTube. Number 5. Virtual hugs. Have you ever missed someone and all that you want to do is give them a nice big hug? In recent years, there have been many times when people needed to be apart. Although homesickness won't necessarily kill you, it'll still make you feel incredibly alone and sad. But what if you get a hug from someone you love, even though you're miles away from each other? That's what the hug shirt is for. Hug shirts are basically just clothes with sensors in them. They're capable of sensing the heartbeat and motion of the person who gave you a hug. And it's also capable of transferring the sensation to you. Wearable technology has slowly been becoming a fashion trend over the past couple of years. But perhaps the hug shirt is the strangest yet most wholesome wearable tech that's available on the market. But the hug shirt is surely just the beginning. Number 4. Bionic Eyes. Our eyes are one of the most complex and important organs. Unfortunately, not everyone is born with the ability to see. Many people in the world are born without sight. Many of them have no chance of seeing. But it's arguably harder to cope if you've lived most of your life with the ability to see, and one day it suddenly gets taken away. One of the most common genetic conditions that affects the eyes is retinitis pigmentosa. More than 1.5 million children are born with this condition, and all of them are at risk of losing their eyesight as they grow older. Retinitis pigmentosa is a genetic condition, which means it's hereditary. The eye is already a complex organ, but recently scientists found an incredible way to hopefully solve and stop retinitis pigmentosa in affecting the lives of many. Theoretically, there is a way to insert healthy cells into the eye of someone with this condition. Through this, the healthy cells can slow or stop the retina from deteriorating. Researchers are also looking for a way to reprogram the cells in our eyes to prevent conditions that can take away our sense of sight. We're still far from refining this technology, but we've made incredible progress. In 2021, a woman named Carleen Knight, who was suffering from vision problems, participated in a landmark medical experiment. Doctors modified her DNA and injected CRISPR, a gene-editing tool, directly into her cells. The following results were incredible. Carleen's vision improved. She was able to distinguish objects once again. And most of all, she was able to see colors once more. CRISPR research still has a long way to go, but once we finally discover all there is to learn about it, there might be a time in the future when genetic diseases won't be a problem. Number 3. Energy storing bricks. You're walking down the street and you check your phone only to see that it has a low battery. Luckily, you see a wall of bricks. Perfect. Now you can charge your phone. This might actually be a thing in the future. Scientists have studied the potential of ordinary red bricks becoming a battery-like tool. Red bricks are among the world's most affordable building materials. In time, these red bricks might be called smart bricks for their capability to store electricity until it's needed by electric devices. It's quite simple as well. Researchers found a way to convert the red pigment in these materials into plastic that can conduct electricity. This made it possible for bricks to be connected to solar panels and store energy. Number 2. Robotic bees. Bees are responsible for pollinating more than 30% of all the crops in the world. That's why these tiny hard workers are vital in most ecosystems. Without them, we are most likely dead. Efforts are still ongoing to save them and to conserve their population, but some researchers are working on an alternative, just in case their numbers continue to decline. Known as robo-bees, this drone-like tech imitates the pollinating capabilities of bees. Each of these tiny robots have horsehair coated with ionic liquid gel on their legs to make pollen stick to them. It would then fly from one flower to another, successfully pollinating crops. But let's be honest, the original is still better than the copy, right? I say we save the bees. Number 1. Nano Medicine. Nano medicine is the application of nanotechnology in healthcare. Today, this is one of the most studied fields by scientists due to the expected impact it would have on medical technology all around the world. Through this, all of us will have the capacity to receive individualized therapeutic treatments. Treating patients in the nanoscale will be incredibly helpful and might lead to breakthroughs in healthcare in terms of medicine delivery, efficacy, as well as the effectiveness and accuracy of implantable devices. What do you think of this cool tech? And do you know any other life-changing inventions? Share them in the comments down below. Also, check out our other cool stuff showing up on the screen right now. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care, everybody.